Hello, it's great to be in front of you once again. It's the question is, normally with vibrational, I can line things up pretty quickly. It's normally receive something in half an hour. But the big question is the biggest trouble I'm having vibrating with is money. Like bringing it in closer, it seems like it's always just out of reach.
Well, it's all right, and we're going to chew on this together.
Yeah.
But we want to point out to you how similar your comments about money were to Esther's comments about her troublesome bag.
Yes, that was resonating with me. So,
in other words, I have trouble with money. I have trouble bringing money to me. This conversation that you're having is practicing a grid. Do you get the concept of the grid?
yes.
So if you're practicing a grid that says money comes hard, can it be otherwise?
Can it be easy? I hope so.
Well, it can be easy when you practice a different grid, but it can't be otherwise than the way you feel. So if it feels to you that everything's going well except that, and you continue to keep that vibration alive within you, then the vibrational response or the realization, the actualization, the manifestation has to follow the way you feel. So the question that we want to put to you is it necessary that you feel in response to what you are living? It's logical, but is it necessary? In other words, can you think around it? Can you think past it? Or do you only have the capacity to observe and tell it exactly like it is?
At the moment, that's what I'm having troubles with. I'm saying how it is. I've looked at a lot of options of how to go around it. Like it is coming in slowly at the moment, and I understand how you're saying it's all building up over here. I'd just like it to come in a bit quicker at the moment.
But, so let's start at the beginning of your understanding. You accept that you are a vibrational being and that you're emanating a signal that is being responded to.
Yes.
So the question that we want to put to you in a sort of blunt way is the signal that you're offering happening only because of what you're observing, or mostly because of what you're observing? If you're like most people, pretty much.
Yeah.
So is there another way? When we're talking about your grid, we're talking about your point of attraction. When we ask you about your grid or your point of attraction, and we ask you about well-being, does well-being only include money?
No, it's
So you could improve your grid by leaving the money out and talking about other forms of well-being that are coming to you. You could even observe other forms of well-being that are coming to you. Or you could imagine. So talk to us a little bit about some other forms of well-being that are coming to you. Tell us about your stability. Tell us about the well-being of your experience.
Well, the well-being is I've got a beautiful wife, 3 lovely children, live on rural acreage, a business that's doing well.
All right, now stop there just for a little bit and settle into that. Doesn't that feel nice? Doesn't that feel nice? He has a beautiful family. He lives on acreage. Doesn't that feel nice?
Yes.
Don't you want to savor that just a little bit? Don't you want to let that be a stronger point of attraction? Now, there's something that we said to you earlier, to all of you, but you might have missed it a little bit. So we're just going to go back over it because there's a piece in here that once you get it, everything will begin to click into place for you. We explained to you that there are 3 steps to the process. Step 1 is ask. Do you think that through what you've been living, that you've been asking for more financial abundance?
Yes, it's on my goal.
For sure.
Yeah.
So you've satisfied step 1 many times over. And we can tell you with certainty that your vortex is abundant with more than you have time to spend in this or 20 lifetimes. We're not kidding you. There's abundance that is there. So step 2, do you remember it? That's the part where source and law of attraction, your inner being, gather up all the cooperative components. And so the path has already been laid out.
Okay.
So step 3 is you just have to find a way to not do that thing you do that blocks it. And the thing that you do that blocks it is talk about the money that isn't there. Now, when you talk about the well-being other than the money that is there, you're not blocking it. When you're talking about the beautiful day it is today, you're not blocking it. When you're talking about the well-being of this planet, when you're talking about the Earth spinning in its orbit, when you're talking about the food that is being grown around the planet, there are all kinds of things that you could talk about that would not be in the way, that would not cause you to beat the drum of and hold a vibrational frequency that holds apart from you what you want. You just have to leave the money out of the equation for a little while, or focus upon it in a way that allows more of it to come. Appreciating what does come always brings more. Noticing the shortage that isn't enough always holds it away. What most people don't understand is that every subject is two subjects, wanted and absence of wanted. So when you pick up the stick of money that has plenty of it on one end and not enough of it on the other, where you've been practicing it, Esther picked up the stick of a carry-on bag in Australia. She picked it up and it was vibrating right where she last left it. And it showed her where she last left it. What a tricky little thing that was.
Yeah.
It showed her exactly where she had left it, you see. Now, wasn't a big thing. Probably wasn't a big enough thing that she'll even do anything about it. And next year when she comes back to see you, they'll take her scissors again. But when you realize that what's coming to you is always coming in vibrational response to what you've got going on, and that you can do something about it. So what happens to some is that they say, oh, I need to be very positive about money. So they begin talking about money. I want more money. I'll find ways of making more money. And they don't realize that every time they invoke the word money, that they're actually activating the vibration of it where it is. So the more you talk about what you want from a place of not feeling that you've got enough of it, the more you practice the vibration that doesn't let it in. Isn't that tricky? So what do? Do I not talk about it? Yeah, don't talk about it unless you feel good. If you see someone who is abundant and it makes your heart sing, then look at them and talk about it. If you see someone who's abundant and it makes you feel defeated or uneasy or jealous, then turn your attention to something else. If you feel worried, it's your indicator that right now in that moment, you have an opposing opinion to the source within you. And that's really something worth talking about. Did you know that about your negative emotion? Every time you feel it, every time you feel worried or angry, every time you feel any negative emotion, it always means the same thing. What you're thinking right here, right now, about whatever it is, the source within you is right here, right now, having a thought about that same thing with you. Did you know that? Because you never separate yourself from that. You are always an extension of source. So source is always right there with you, right there, with source knowing about the very subject that you are focused upon, knowing about your abundance, knowing about your request, knowing about your worthiness, knowing about the process to bring it about, knowing for sure that it is coming. And when you have that feeling that feels like doubt, all it means is you got crossways of what's really known about that. So stop it. Helpful?
Yes, thank you very much.
There's something more that we'd like to say to you, because this is a topic that a lot of people are feeling around, and whether this is a topic that is important to you or not, the process is the same. And that is, if you can get more general about the topic, and that's what we were doing when we were talking about well-being in general. If you can get more general about it, if you could say things to yourself, and you can't make stuff up that you don't mean. You have to feel around for stuff that you mean that feels good. Can you hear the difference? You can't just say, oh, I'm not worried about money when you're worried about money, and do anything that changes your vibration. But you can find thoughts that make you feel better. Thoughts like, I'm good at what I do, and I'm good when I focus. You are, aren't you?
Yes.
And I apply myself very well. And I believe that law of attraction abounds. You do, don't you?
Yes.
And I know that I'm a vibrational being. Yeah. And I accept that I've gathered a lot of abundance that is looking for a way into my experience. Now we want to give you something else here. How do you feel about this vibrational reality that we are calling a vortex? we like it, whether you do or not. So here's this vortex that is spinning in this high, pure, positive place with abundance and well-being of all manner there for you. And here you are, in whatever state you're in, offering a vibrational frequency that has you spinning too. But the question is, if your abundance is here and you are here, then this cannot flow easily into your grid. You've got to bring yourself up to speed with that, you see.
Yeah.
So you have to find some way of not doing whatever you're doing that's holding the vibration down. So when you realize that when you sort of kind of know, when you begin to believe, when you actually know that there is a vibrational version of it, and all you have to do is find the frequency of it. Now, here's where we always like to get a little detailed and explicit in explaining something to our human friends. Your vibration and you don't know it. And that's what makes it hard for you to manifest easily. If we could just zap you, we can't, but if we could, we would, but we can't. If we could just zap you with an awareness that you are vibrational beings and that everything you see is a vibrational interpretation. Now, you're all doing such a good job of interpreting vibration that you've created this reality that you are for the most part in agreement about, but you are living very different worlds one from another, and you don't realize that either because you can't perceive beyond your own perception. So we're touching, and this is this new place that we promised you that we would go this evening. We want you to understand that when you are focused upon the vibrational nature of your being, and when you care about how you feel, which is the way you monitor what you're doing vibrationally, so that you reach for better and better feelings by choosing better and better feeling thoughts. And it takes some practice. You're not going to do it all at once. What happens is, as your frequencies match what's in your vortex and what's in your point of attraction or your grid, now what's in your vortex moves seamlessly into your grid. You call that inspiration. You call it a really good idea. It's where you get this hunch or this impulse to do something, to stop here, to go there, to drive there, to turn here. In other words, all kinds of manifestations begin to be, and these are the key words that we really want you to hear, begin to be realized by you. Realized by you. In other words, the only thing that stands between you and what you want ever is your vibrational interpretation of it. You have to know that. When you look around this world, this action-oriented world, the difference in the way so many of you are approaching life, you have to know that there's something more in the equation than just the action that you've been offering. And when you accept that you are vibrational and you conjure images in your mind of this vibrational version and you work in order to allow yourself to come into vibrational frequency with it, and you feel the relief as your vibration raises and you blend with the whole of who you are, and then, as the manifestations are realized by you, you never again wonder how it is that you create your own reality. And you never again feel unworthy or incapable of accomplishing anything that you set your mind to, you see. When we say set your mind to, we mean feel your way to. Feel your way to. It's really fun for us to acknowledge what's in your vortex. And it is enormously satisfying for us to feel the vibrational alignment that you have achieved just in this little bit of time that we've been talking together. It is our absolute promise to you that you cannot have moved vibrationally in the way that you have. You cannot have improved the vibrational relationship between your grid and your vortex and not have evidence come fast. When it comes, acknowledge how it has been so. And then remind yourself, you don't need Abraham to have this discussion. You know what to do. You all do. It's just a matter of deciding if you want to do it enough to do it, you see. Really good.
Awesome.
Yep.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.